हेलो दोस्तों, वेलकम टू माय चैनल पीआर नॉलेज सेंटर। आप लोग का स्वागत है हमारे चैनल पे। मैं आज लाई हूँ विजन आईएएस का सितंबर मंथ का करंट अफेयर, जिसमें हम करेंगे आज साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी। तो आपको पता ही होगा, करंट अफेयर एक इम्पॉर्टेंट सेक्शन है आपके यूपीएससी का है, फिर आप जो भी एग्ज़ाम दे रहे हैं सभी के लिए बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट करंट अफेयर आजकल हो चुका है। तो करंट अफेयर में ऐसे ऐसे क्वेश्चन पूछे जाते हैं जहाँ भैया संभावना ही नहीं पड़ती कि हम लोग कैसे पढ़ें उसको। तो विजन ने बहुत अच्छा सोर्स है करंट अफेयर का, तो इसको करना बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है। तो चलिए करते हैं साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी। इसके पहले बहुत सारे मतलब सबके चैप्टर वाइज साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी, एथिक्स एंड इंटरनेशनल रिलेशन, इकोनॉमी, सोशल इशूज़, कल्चर, सब कुछ अलग अलग वीडियो आपको बनाए गए मंथली। तो अक्टूबर का हो चुका है, सितंबर का है, तो आप उसको देखिए, टेस्ट भी करिए और एनसीईआरटी भी करिए, और साथ ही साथ घटना चक्र भी चल रहा है जो कि यूपीपीएससी वगैरह की प्रिपरेशन कर रहे हैं। तो चलिए स्टार्ट करते हैं सितंबर मंथ का करंट अफेयर।
तो आज हम करेंगे साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी। तो पहला न्यूज है इसमें आदित्य L1 का। तो वाई न्यूज, इसरो सक्सेसफुली लॉन्च इंडियाज फर्स्ट स्पेस बेस्ड ऑब्जर्वेटरी क्लास सोलर मिशन टू स्टडी द सन ऑन September 2 to study the sun. Okay. More on news, on September 18, ISRO successfully performed the Lagrangian point one insertion maneuvers. This mark of the beginning of the spacecraft about 110-day trajectory to the destination around the L1 Lagrange point. Also, the suprathermal energetic particle spectrometer, an instrument, a part of the Aditya Solar Wind Particle Experiment payload, has begun the collection of the scientific data. Steps comprises 6 sensors, each observing in different directions and measuring suprathermal and energetic ions. The data collected during the Earth's orbit helps scientists to analyze the behavior of particles surrounding the Earth, especially in the presence of the magnetic field on Earth. Steps measure will continue for the rest of the life of आदित्य L1 मिशन। आदित्य L1 मिशन के बारे में और जाने तो लॉन्च व्हीकल है इसका PSLV C57 25th mission using the PSLV XL configuration. It is planned to place in the halo orbit around the Lagrangian point 1 of the Sun Earth system. Know the term coronal mass injections. These are the large eruption of the magnetized plasma from the sun's outer atmosphere that propagates outwards into the interplanetary space. Solar flares are the intense burst of the radiation coming from the release of the magnetic energy associated with the sunspot. These are the solar system's largest explosive event. Science objective of the mission: study of the solar upper atmospheric chromosphere and coronal corona dynamics, and study of the chromospheric and coronal heat physics of the partially ionized plasma initiation of the coronal mass injection and solar flares. Observe the in situ particle and plasma environment, providing data for the study of particle dynamics from the sun. Identify the sequence of the process that occur at the multiple layer chromosphere based on the extended corona, which eventually lead to solar eruptive event. Drivers for space weather, origin, composition, and dynamics of the solar wind. Layer of the sun, internal structure, cold radioactive zone, convection zone, you can see that, and subsurface flow, and photosphere and sunspot and flare, and chromosphere and corona, and coronal hole and prominence. Aditya L1 carries 7 payloads, 5 by ISRO and 2 by Indian academic institutes. Remote sensing payloads, visible emission line coronagraph, and solar ultraviolet imaging telescope, and solar low energy X-ray spectrometer, and high energy L1 orbiting X-ray spectrometer. And in situ payloads, Aditya solar wind particle experiment aspects, plasma analyzer package for Aditya Papa, and advanced tri-axial high resolution digital magnetometers. Uniqueness of the mission. It will provide first time specially resolved solar disk in the near UV band. It will provide information in the acceleration regime of the CME, which is not observed consistently. On-board intelligence to detect the CMEs and solar flares, optimized observation and data volume and direction, and energy anisotropy of the solar wind using multi-direction observatory. About Lagrangian point. What? For a two-body gravitational system, the Lagrange point are the position in space where small objects tend to stay it if put there. For two-body gravitational system, there are a total of 5 Lagrange points denote L1, L2, L3, L4, L5. The uh, Lagrange point of the Sun Earth system are shown in the figure. You can see that L1, L1, L3, L4, L5, and another 5 Lagrange point is L1, L2, L3 are unstable, and 2 L4, L5 are stable. And stable Lagrangian point, on the other hand, form the apex of the two equilateral triangles that have the large masses at their verticals. Significance: these points in the space for a two-body system such as Sun and Earth can be used by the spacecraft to remain at these positions with reduced fuel consumption. Placing satellite around L1 gives advantage for continuous observation for the Sun without any occultation eclipse mechanism. At Lagrange point, the gravitational pull of the two large bodies equal the necessary centripetal force required for a small object to move with them. Other key information: Lagrange points are named in honor of the Italian-French mathematician Joseph Louis Lagrange. Lagrange point L1 lies between the Sun-Earth lines, and distance from L1 from Earth is approximately 1% of the Earth-Sun distance. NASA ESA joined the Solar and Hemispheric Observatory satellite mission is placed near the L1 point, while NASA James Webb Space Telescope is planned around L2 point. Conclusion: as ISRO embark on this ambitious journey, the mission embodies our nation's commitment to advance scientific knowledge and securing the place on the global space exploration stage. For more detail of India rare space and future missions planned by ISRO, kindly refer to the article that August 2023 edition of the monthly current affair magazine. टाइडल लॉकिंग क्या होता है? वाई न्यूज एज द सनराइज ऑन द मून. ISRO is trying to wake up our rover Pragyan and lander Vikram, which were put to sleep, survive the lunar light. How more on news? The Chandrayaan 3 mission was solar powered, and its landing was planned to coincide the daylight period on the moon. The diurnal temperature range on the moon is very high, making it difficult for Chandrayaan 3 missions electronics to withstand the extremely low temperature during the lunar night. Therefore, the lander and rover were put into the hibernation a little before the lunar sunset. And re-awaking would validate ISRO lander rover technology for future space exploration. About lunar day, a mean solar day on moon is lunar day is the time of the moon takes the complete one rotation on its axis with respect to the sun. On one mean solar day on the moon is 29.5 Earth's day. One mean solar day on Earth is 24 hours. Therefore, the daylight on the moon or lunar day would last approximately 2 weeks. Followed by the approximately 2 weeks of lunar night. Temperature on the moon. Daytime temperature near the lunar equator reach boiling 250 degree Fahrenheit, while nighttime temperature get to chilly minus 208 degree Fahrenheit. And this high diurnal temperature range is caused because of the absence of the atmosphere and tidal locking on the moon with the earth. The presence of the atmosphere limit extreme the temperatures by the transferring heat around the planet. About tidal locking. Tidal locking refer to the synchronization between the moon rotation around its axis and the orbit around the earth. It happened due to the gravitational force exerted by both the moon and earth on each other. Consequences of tidal locking. Only one side of moon visible, one side of the moon is always facing the earth, while the other is clocking in the perpetual darkness, giving the rise to two sides of the moon. Near side, the proportion of the moon about 60% of the visible form of the earth per far side. The portion of the moon near never visible from the earth. The the far side of the moon is illuminated in the sunlight during the new moon phase when the moon is invisible from the earth and continues to receive the light from nearly a fortnight. Thus, it is dark only in the sense that its various topographical features were hidden until the Soviet spacecraft Luna 3 in 1959 photographed it. Astronaut aboard Apollo 8 mission 1968 were the first human to see the far side of the moon. This distortion shape. The gravitation force that exerted is always stronger on the side of facing each other. This force causes the bodies to scratch and distort. Earth gravitational force deform the moon, slightly squeezed wormhole and bulge at its equator. The same sort of deformation of manifests itself in Earth ocean, leading the alternating high and low ocean tides. Slow rotation tidal torque slow down the spin of the planet when the moon formed the rotation more quickly than it does day today. The Earth is also slowing down primarily due tidal interaction with moon. Hospitability. High diurnal temperature range impact on the potential hospitability on the moon. Tidal locking in the universe. As the solar system large moon are tidally locked with the planet, the bigger moons synchronized early in the existence within the hundred of the thousand of orbit. Some Hawaii stars are tidally locked to one another. Also, it is evidence is building the many planets beyond the solar system are tidally locked with dear stars. To know more about the Chandrayaan 3, kindly refer to the article that's and battery energy storage system जिसको बेस बोलते हैं. Why news Union Cabinet has approved a scheme for viability gap funding for the development of battery energy storage system. Electric energy storage, you can see that mechanical, electrochemical, electrical and chemical. Mechanical में pumped hydro and flywheel and compressed air. And electromechanical mechanical secondary battery lead acid and secondary battery NAS flow battery and electrical double layer capacitor and superconducting magnetic energy storage and chemical hydrogen fuel cell and thermal में sensible heat storage. Key highlight of this scheme. Scheme envisages development of 4,000 megawatt of BESS project by 2030 to 31. It will provide financial support up to 40% of capital cost and budgetary support in the form of VGF. VGF is a grant on one time or deferred provide to support infrastructure projects that are economically justified but fall short of the financial viability. Schemes target to achieve the levelized cost of storage ranging from the 5.5 to 6.6 per kilowatt to make store renewable energy in viable option to manage peak power demand. L costs reflect the total cost of the base divided by the energy it is projected to provide over the course of its useful life. In minimum 85% of base project capacity will be made viable to discount to enhance the integration of the renewable energy into the electric grid and minimize wastage. Selection of base developer for VGF grant will be carried out through a transparent competitive bidding process to promote level playing field to public and private sector entities. About battery energy storage system, it is categorized under the electrochemical storage system referred infographic for types of electric energy storage which used to different electrochemical reaction to store electricity. Energy storage system have a multitude of application in the energy sector and can be used independent of or as a part of power system infrastructure at various level in generation, transmission and distribution. Types of base. Standard non-flow batteries. It consists of the pair of the plates जिसे इलेक्ट्रोड बोलते हैं immersed in the electrolyte and separated by non-conducting material. Lead acid battery and nickel cadmium battery and lithium ion battery and sodium sulfur battery. Flow batteries, it is a used tank of the electrolyte and membrane to control the flow of electron pumps to control the flow of electrolyte. Redox flow battery and hybrid flow battery. Need of the domestic manufacturing of base. Economic reduction of the battery cell import and prevention of the outflow of the forex reserve or advanced cell manufacturing will enable electric vehicle deployed reduce oil import to a greater extent. It may also result in the growth of meaning sector to feed increasing the demand via domestic raw material. Social increasing the opportunity for the skill development, incubation centers and entrepreneurship programs. With the current advanced chemistry cell battery manufacturing plants of the 50 gigawatt IESA estimate that the program shall generate minimum of 5 lakhs employment opportunities. Environmental assessment in the meeting of the Panchamrit target of the government. It will also assist in the reducing the pollution in urban center by reducing the emissions. It will enable the reintegration with the grid to ensure stable and flexible power system operation. Challenge of battery manufacturing in India. Raw material availability extremely low reserve of in-house material like lithium, cobalt, nickel and battery grade graphics which are key constituent for manufacturing electrode and electrolyte. Absence of major partnership of a bilateral agreement with major raw material producing countries like Australia, Chile, Brazil. Policies and regulation. Policy uncertainty such as the deconstitution, tax holidays, reduction of acceleration, depression benefits, etc. Technology and material science lack of the appropriate technology transfer and exchange the information due to the technology patent is also no concern the limiting the technical expertise gained at local level, lacking of high quality research and development infrastructure for the research on advanced cell and battery manufacturing, absence of EV storage policies and dedicated component for to support the indigenous battery manufacturing at the state level. Financing reluctance among bank finance institutions to provide a loan for a new technology due to lack of the technical expertise and standardized financial model, lack of assured overtake and guaranteed market further aggravates the issue of the financing miscellaneous. There are the chance that a boom in the real lithium-ion battery manufacturing market can hamper the livelihood of player in the supply chain for lead acid technology. Need to protect the domestic industry against cheap and superior quality of Chinese imports. Way forward demand creation. Implementation of soft loan facility for the discount transmission companies to deploy energy storage and battery resolution facilitate the demand of creation of e-buses, e-cabs, e-autos backed with MOUs and firm contract with state transport units, cabs aggregator and operation railway. Phased manufacturing program incentivizing advanced cell manufacturing supported adequately by state to encourage investor. This should be minimum 50% of value addition to the cell manufacturing ecosystem in India by the manufacturer to eligible for subsidy. State government can provide support under the various category including infrastructure support and making provisions for subsidized utilize such as electricity. Taxation redesign GST rate to discourage the import and encourage the domestic procurement batteries granting tax holiday to battery manufacturing incentive in the house research and development etc. Recycling and sustainability ensure the effective implementation and extend the producer responsibility and digitize waste management to move the end of life approach to circular economy in base initiative undertaken by base in India. Legal state for the energy storage system as a generator of transmission of distribution element issued by Ministry of Power on in January 2022 and binding guidance for battery energy storage system notified by the MOP in March 2022. National framework of promoting energy storage system unveiled by the MOP in August 2023. Battery waste management rules 2022 promote the circular economy in waste sector. And vanadium. What is vanadium? Vanadium researchers are Geological Survey of India discovered the vanadium, a critical mineral from the Gulf of Khambat in Gujarat. More about news. Titanomagnetite ore containing the vanadium has been identified in the sample taken from the Gulf of Khambat. Titanomagnetite is a primary source of the element. 88% of the world's vanadium is extracted from and is found when the molten lava cools rapidly. According to GSI deposit in the Gulf were drained from the Deccan Basin mainly through the rivers Narmada and Tapi. It is the first report of vanadium occurrence in the offshore sediments of India. Geological Survey of India. Generally, it was established in 1851 primarily in find the coal deposit for the railway and Ministry of Mines and Function creation of updation of the National Geoscientific Data Mineral Resource Assessment and Airborne and Marine Survey, conducting multifarious geotechnical and geo-environmental and natural hazards studies, glaciology and सिस्मोटेक्टोनिक etc. अगला न्यूज है about vanadium. It is a chemical element of symbol V and atomic number 23 and classified a transition metal. It is a abundant element in the earth crust and ranking 22nd in the position of the upper continental crust. It listed as one of the 30 critical minerals identified by the government of India. Occurrence it rarely exists as a free element in nature but can be found in about 65% different minerals including magnetite, vanadinite, and coronite and petrinite. It can be detected spectroscopically in the sun's ray and occasionally in the light of the other state. Physical property under standard condition it hard silver gray metal. Transition metal they are metallic element that serve as the bridge transition between two side and periodic table. It is very ductile, malleable, can be hammered in the sheet and resistant to corrosion. It does not react with water or oxygen at the room temperature. Reserve for vanadium globally. Brazil is the world's largest exporter of vanadium, with Russia and South Africa and next exporter. China has the highest vanadium reservoir produced world as 2022. In India, according to the India's Bureau Mines, the total estimate of reserve vanadium in India around 24.63 million tons. In 2021, vanadium reserves were also found in Arunachal Pradesh. Applications of vanadium energy storage used in vanadium redox flow battery is a type of the rechargeable battery used in large scale energy storage in renewable energy system and steel manufacturing used as the alloying element to steel production where in part of the increasing strength toughness and heat resistant to the steel. The additional 0.15% vanadium strengthens cast iron by 10 to 25%. Catalyst. Vanadium compounds are used as catalyst in the production of the chemical plastic and the main material. Nuclear reactor. Vanadium alloys are also used to make the nuclear reactor because of their flow neutron absorbing properties. And concern regarding use vanadium. Occupational exposure are environmental and supply chain and limited technological development. And medicine, it is used for the treatment of the pre-diabetes and diabetes. Aerospace and aviation used in the manufacturing of aerospace and aviation component due to its height, strength and lightweight and heat resistant properties. Other application used for the production and pigment ceramic and reducing agent in the metallurgy. About vanadium redox flow batteries. They are type of the rechargeable flow battery that employs vanadium ions as the active material. Working principle: VRFBs store their energy into electrolyte tank with which are connected to stack cell. Vanadium has the unique characteristic of having four different stages of oxidation. In each of four stages, vanadium contains a different electrical charge and therefore used a catalyst to store energy. Vanadium redox flow battery, you can see that cell plus minus V3 V5 voltage and energy density amount of energy compared to its weight and lower energy density suitable for large scale industrial scale operation. Lithium ion battery higher energy densities and suitable for small devices such as laptops and cell phones. And the lifespan, longer life cycle can bundle more charge and discharge cycle, decay and loss capacity over time. And cost, initially installation cost is higher, economic in the long run and initially cost lower, less waste and recyclable. Vanadium electrolyte can be easily reused and proposed in other batteries. High disposal cost, lithium is challenging and currently uneconomic to extract. And safety, safer uses aqueous electrolyte which are not flammable. Less safe contain flammable electrolyte. And capacity expansion easier by using larger electrolyte storage tank and difficult. Conclusion: demand for vanadium is expected to increase due to the its increasing usability. VRFBS potential are renewable and sustainable and high safe energy storage system make it exciting technology. Our research and development effort will have been initiated to meet the domestic demand for vanadium. Chromosome. Scientists have successfully sequenced the Y chromosome using the long read sequencing techniques. Structure of chromosome: cell and this is nucleus and chromosome. nucleus अंदर क्रोमोसोम इसको बीच में सेंट्रियोल होता है, टेलोमियर है. और more in news: Y is the last human chromosome to sequenced and into telomere is telomere. And telomere is the structure made from DNA sequence and protein that cap and protect the end of the chromosome. The sequencing can be improved understanding why many health conditions through to be related to the change in the genes of the Y chromosome. Loss of the Y chromosome is associated with the increased risk of cancer, Alzheimer disease, and cardiovascular disease. About chromosome and their sequencing. Chromosome are thread-like structure made of protein and single molecule of DNA serve to carry genomic information from cell to cell. In plants and animal, including human, chromosome resides in nucleus of cell. Human have 22 pair of new numbers chromosome, one pair of sex chromosome XX or XY for total 46 23 pair. Genome sequencing. Sequencing simply means determining the exact order of base in the strand DNA. Approaches to genome sequencing. Short read sequencing. In this, genome is broken into small fragments, usually 50 to 30 bases before the being a sequence. It is more effective and application aimed at counting evidence and specific sequence profiling the expression of the particular transcripts. It's a long read sequencing. It DNA is fragmented and tagged for sequencing the keep track and each fragment followed by the local assembly. It provides sequences that are easier to distinguish and can therefore be assembled more easily, handling the confusing repetitions and loops of the Y chromosome. About Y chromosome, it is one of the two human sex chromosome, X being the other. Human genome has 22 pair of autosome and one pair of sex chromosome, XY female and XX female and XY male. Y chromosome is male determining because Bayer's sky genes are responsible for contain sex characteristics such as testes. Y is also a lot of junk DNA sequence that don't seem to contribute to traits. About 66% of the Y chromosome is composed of repeated DNA, which requires spliced DNA sequencing and analyze the technique to determine their arrangement. X chromosome and Y chromosome can be contributed by the egg of sperm, always contributed by sperm. Longer contain about 900 protein coding genes and smaller contain around 100 protein coding genes. Occur paired in the female and single in male. Normally occurred in single in male only. Represent 5% of entire human genome and represent 20% of entire human genome. Contain XX phenotype and contain XY genotype. In conclusion, sequencing of the Y chromosome has unveiled profound insight into human genetics, offering a glimpse into our ancestral past and potential future advancement in medicine. Gene drive technology. Gene drive technology. While genetically modified mosquitoes have used to outdoor but controlled condition in India, Brazil, Panama, which showed promising drop in mosquito population around 90% during the trials. More on news. Advance in genome sequencing technique coupled with our capacity and genetically manipulating them offer opportunity to systematically control population mosquitoes in interfering with the reproduction. About GDP. GDP is a type of genetic engineering technique that modifies the gene alter the typical rules of Mendelian inheritance. Components. A gene drive consists of three key components gene to be spread. The Cas9 enzyme is cut DNA and CRISPR, a programmable DNA sequence that determines where the enzyme should cut. CRISPR clustered regularly interspaced short palindromic repeat or repetitive DNA sequence develop a method of repurposing a bacterial immune system to make break DNA precise location. Normal inheritance and gene drive inheritance. You can see that. Okay. And outcome. The genetic material of encode and three element gets inserted into the human DNA in place the naturally occurrence gene. It increases the likelihood of the particular suite of the DNA to pass into the next generation, allowed the genes to rapidly spread through a population and override natural selection. Application GDT can be used to exterminate insects such as the mosquito frog can spread malaria, dengue, and the Zika virus. Gene drives can also be used to control the invasive species such as rodents. Concern ecological long-term disruption ecosystem is disturbed in the balance of food web, potentially leading to unintended ecological consequences and legal. Gene drive could get out out of control and spread the uncontrollably across international border and security. It could potentially be used in the bioterrorism or other malicious purpose. Ethical deciding the which species to target and irreversible nature. GDT raises complex ethical and moral issues. And conclusion, GDT offers the unprecedented potential for the addressing the global challenge like vector-borne disease and invasive species, while also raising the profound ethical and ecological concerns, striking the rate of balance between the innovation and ethical responsibility will be pivotal as we navigate the uncharted territory of the gene drive. Short news. Hyperloops. First news is Hyperloop. Tata Steel and Toyota Hyperloop, depth tech startup operating from the IIT Madras, signed a memorandum of the agreement to joint work on development of the Hyperloop technology. Hyperloop proposes ultra high speed at over 700 miles an hour around ground transportation system for the passenger and cargo. Hyperloop concept has been promoted by Musk and SpaceX and other companies. It has three essential elements. First tube is large steel low pressure system and vacuum tube, usually a long tunnel. And pod is the coach pressurized at atmospheric pressure that runs substantially free of air resistant on the friction inside the tube using magnetite propulsion. And terminal handle pod arrival and departures benefit cheaper and reduce the travel between big cities, less polluting, etc. Kakra Power Nuclear Power Plant. CAP3, first largest indigenous 700 MVE Kakra Power Nuclear Power Plant started working in Gujarat. CAP3 is also the biggest indigenous developed variant of the pressurized heavy water reactor. In 2020, it had achieved the first critically when each fission event released a sufficient number of neutrons to sustain ongoing series of reactions. PHVRS use natural uranium as fuel and heavy water as moderator. Enhanced safety feature incorporated. Thin-walled pressure tubes, they can lower the severity of accidental rupture of the pressure boundary. Passive decay heat removal system online of the similar technology adopted the generation third plus plant to negate the possibility of the Fukushima by accident happened in Japan 2021. Still lined containment to reduce the containment pressure in case of loss of coolest accident. India is currently on the second stage of the three-stage nuclear program. Enrichment of U-235 isotope up to 3 to 5% is required for electric generation. India's three-stage nuclear program. You can see that. And next, research and development in the telecom, broadcasting, and IT sector. TRI released the consultation paper on the encouraging the research and development telecom, broadcasting, and IT sector. Object is review existing research and development ecosystem, identify bottleneck in the promoting research and development, recommend inversions to improve the research and development ICT sector. As per TRI Act 1997, TRI has been mandated to make the recommendation for development of the telecommunication technology. Significant of research and development in ICT sector for national security and supporting industry 4.0 and improve the consumer experience and economy to achieve the objective of digital India program and impact the impetus of the becoming a 5 trillion economy. Challenges: less number of organizations involved in research and development, telecom and broadcasting section, and limited commercialization of research due to weak and interlinkage. No centralized governance body overseeing research and development activities in ICT sector. MNS focus on the software instead of hardware and indigenous 4G and 5G core technology developed by C. National Digital Communication Policy 2018 and Telecom PLI scheme and Center for the Excellence in the Wireless Technology and Autonomous Research Society of IIT Madras. And a snapshot of India's research and ecosystem. Research and ecosystem expenditure as percent of 0.7% of GDP and public sector investment 63%, US 24%, China 23% and Japan 21%. And Global Innovation Index 2022 ranking 40th UP by 6 places and 46th in 2021 and allowed FDI in research and development 100% via atomic route and patent filling grant 1.5x and 5x respectively in the 7 year 2014 to 21. Monoclonal antibodies maps. Center decided to procure doses of monoclonal antibodies from Australia. Monoclonal antibodies is experimentally therapeutic was also imported for treatment of the infected patient during 2018 Nipah outbreak in Kerala. And Nipah virus is a zoonotic virus and can be transmitted through the contaminated food or directly between the people. Monoclonal antibodies are artificial antibodies that mimic the activity of the immune system. They are produced through a process by involving extracting species antibodies from the human blood and their cloning them. They are clone of just one antibodies and they are bind to one antigen only. They are made of homogeneous hybrid cell derived from the same parent cell. And polyclonal antibodies, on of the other hand, is a mixture of the antibodies that are the secreted in different B cell lineages and they have been used in the treatment of cancer, Ebola, HIV, etc. and may were effectively bind with a part of the viral envelope that attach the human cell to gain entry into body. This effectively neutralizes the virus and concern with the MBS. Side effects such as the cytokine release syndrome reaction and allergic atopic and disorder impaired human immune function. Know the term. Antibodies, these are the protective protein produced by the immune system in the response of the presence of the foreign substance and called as antigen. Hypertension the report. WHO who has released its first ever report on hypertension titled Global Report of Hypertension that race against a silent killer. About hypertension, it is condition of the higher blood pressure that normal measured by the diastolic and systolic blood pressure level. Systolic pressure in the maximum blood pressure during the contraction of the ventricle and diastolic pressure in the minimum pressure recorded just prior to the next contraction. The key finding globally higher prevention of the hypertension among males 34% than female 32%. In India 31% of population have hypertension. Only 37% of Indian with hypertension are the diagnosed and 3% 30% get treatment. 4.6 million lives in India can be saved by 2040 with better control. Cardiovascular disease death attributable to high systolic blood pressure are higher among females 55% than male 51%. Risk factor include higher salt intake, tobacco use, obesity and alcohol consumption and physical inactive. Intervention in India. Indian Hypertension Control Initiative, a collaborative initiative between the Ministry of Home Affairs and Food Welfare, state government indicate the Council of Medical Research (ICMR) and WHO India, and to improve the hypertension control using the evidence-based treatment protocol, uninterrupted drug supply, patient-centered care, task sharing, digital information system. Gujarat Declaration. WHO has released the outcome document first WHO Traditional Medicine Global Summit 2023 form of the Gujarat Declaration. It reaffirmed global commitment toward the indigenous knowledge and biodiversity and traditional complementary and integrative medicine. It serves a catalyst to harness the potential of the traditional medicine and focus on their integration in national health system. Scrub typhus disease caused by a bacteria called Orientia susugumasi. Vector through bites infected by chiggers, larval mites. No vaccine available to prevent the scrub typhus. Common symptoms include fever, headache, body ache, and sometimes rash. Affected region: rural area of the Southeast Asia and Indonesia, China, Japan, India, and northern Australia. RNA ribonucleic acid study of the Tasmania tiger. In first research have sequenced RNA from any extinct species. Tasmania tiger, known as the thylacine, was a duck-sized striped carnivorous marsupial inhabited in the Australia and adjacent Iceland. RNA, like deoxyribonucleic acid, carries genetic information and play a crucial role in the protein synthesis, while DNA contains an organism genetic code. RNA carries genetic information it receives from the DNA synthesizing the protein have an organism required to live and regulating cell metabolism. Benefits: information of the metabolism regulation of the species, helping understanding the cause of past pandemics. Dolly ship. Sir Ian Wilmot, who led the team of the creator Dolly, passed away recently. Dolly was the first mammal to be cloned from an adult cell. Dolly was created using a cloning method called somatic cell nuclear transfer. In a somatic cell nuclear transfer, nucleus and egg cell is removed and replaced with nucleus of donor adult cell. Because 99.9% of cell DNA is contained in nucleus in chromosomal DNA, resulting animal will share almost exactly same DNA as original donor cell. Universe expansion dispute. Research proposal a new way to settle the universe expansion dispute. Universe began nearly 13.7 billion years ago in an event of the astronomers called Big Bang as just a single point of unexpected and stretched, expanded and extended to grow a large as it is right now, and it is still stretching. In 1929, Edwin Hubble provided first mathematical disruption and universe expansion, finding the precise rate of universe expansion called the Hubble constant remain in the challenge. Hubble constants calculated by the comparing between observed brightness of the supernova, largest explosion of star that take place in space, and analyze the charge to cosmic microwave background radiation left over from Big Bang event. Using gravitational wave ripple in the space-time produce massive astronomical objects like neutron star black holes collide with each other. However, there is the discrepancy in the measure of Hubble constant, as the three method estimate Hubble constant based on information from different stages of the universe. CMB is based on a much younger universe, while other two are based on an older universe. Now, researchers including from India, proposed to study collection of gravitational lensing and their time delay to determine Hubble constant. Gravitational lensing occur when the massive object distort and magnify light from the object behind them, such as the galaxy or a quasar, acting as the cosmic telescopes and making distant galaxies appear brighter. Sorry. And CE20 cryogenic engine. ISRO has successfully tested the CE20 cryogenic engine to be used in the mission Gaganyaan. Cryogenic engine use fuel at the cryogenic temperature 150 to 273 degrees centigrade, and are the comparatively more powerful than the solid and liquid propellant engine. It is the first cryogenic engine to use a gas generator cycle using liquid oxygen and liquid hydrogen propellants combination. It has a capacity of 28 tons of fuel and will be used as the upper stage of the geosynchronous satellite launch vehicle Mk3. NASA Osiris-Rex asteroid samples capsule. NASA Osiris-Rex asteroid sample capsule from asteroid Bennu land on Earth. OSIRIS-REx origin spectral interpretation resource identification security regolith explorer launched in 2016 the NASA first mission to collect a sample from near Earth and asteroid Bennu. In 2020, Oryx spacecraft collected sample of dust and pebble from asteroid Bennu. Asteroids are rocky objects that orbit the sun. They are the remnants from formation of the solar system over 4.6 billion years ago. They are also called major planet as they are much smaller than planet. Bennu is the B-type asteroid that is contains significant amount of carbon and various other minerals. Hence, it reflects the about 4% of light that hits it. Earth reflects about 30% and Venus reflects about 35%. Bennu was formed in first 10 million years of the solar system creation. It has not gone through a lot of the composition altering the change and through the billions of years, which means the below its surface lies chemical and rock from the earth of the solar system. Significant asteroid samples to better understand plant formation and origin from organic and water that led to life on Earth benefits humanity by learning more about potentially hazardous asteroids. Other mission for asteroid sample. Stardust spacecraft USA collected sample from Comet P while 2 and Hayabusa 2 Japan collected samples from asteroid Raikou. Slim and extremism. Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency JAXA launches an H-2A rocket carrying the Slim Moon lander and other X-rays space telescope. Slim Smart Lander and Investigating Moon will attempt to pull the Japan's first ever soft lunar landing at Seoul crater in early 24. It aimed to demonstrate the pinpoint landing technology which can enable landing anywhere on the moon. X-RISM X-ray imaging and spectroscopy mission is a collaboration involving JAXA, NASA and European Space Agency. It will study the universe in high energy X-ray light from the Earth orbit. Mars Oxygen in situ resource utilization in experiment MOXIE. MOXIE NASA oxygen generating instrument on the preservation of Mars rover has successfully completed its Mars mission. तो इसको जान सकते हैं. And next is Juno mission. NASA Juno mission completed its 53rd close flyby on Jupiter. About Juno mission launched in 2021 5-year journey and probe beneath Jupiter dense clouds and the origin and evolution of Jupiter's solar system. And next K2-18 by exoplanet. NASA James Webb Space Telescope discovered the presence of the carbon dioxide and methane on an exoplanet. K2-18b exoplanet is 120 light year from Earth. Planets that orbit stars other than our sun are called exoplanet. James Webb Telescope is a space telescope specially designed to conduct infrared astronomy. Its high resolution and high sensitivity instrument allow it to view the object to all the distance of the faint for the Hubble Space Telescope. Magnetospheric substorm. Study of energetic ion variation during the magnetospheric substorm intervals can help improve the accuracy of the space weather forecasting. Magnetospheric substorm is the short-lived process in which a portion of the energy extracted by the interaction between the solar and earth magnetosphere is released. It depends on the interplanetary magnetic field, solar wind velocity, and all and on solar wind dynamic pressure. The average duration of the substorm about 2 to 4 hours. The southward direction of IMF is the pre-quest tide and substorm occurrence. And next news is super blue moon. Super blue moon is the convergence of three lunar occurrences: a full moon, a super moon, and a blue moon. Blue moon refer to the second full moon within a single month. Rare event since full moon typically occur 1 month. And next news is errata. In June 2023 monthly magazine due to the typographical error in article 71, you can say that. और उसके बाद ये हो सकता है, तो ठीक है। तो फुल मून इज द perigee. Super moon is about 40% bigger and 30% brighter than full moon at the apogee पर डे माइक्रो मून। तो कैसा लगा है वीडियो बताइए जरूर, अगर पसंद आए तो लाइक से सब्सक्राइब करिए। मिलते हैं नेक्स्ट वीडियो में, तब तक के लिए जय हिंद जय भारत।